Hey there everyone, welcome back to another Game Vault video. As always, I'm Captain Beefy with the Game Vault, and we're going to talk, once again about Sweet Baby Inc. This time about Remedy Games and how it looks like they're still partnered up together after the failure of Alan Wake 2. So let's cue up the music and we'll get right to it. All right, so a few weeks back, we had a story on Remedy where they were talking about how they removed their request for pronouns, I think it was, in applying for a job with them. And that seemed like a step in the right direction, right? It's like, oh, okay, here we are. There's a little shift in policy here, and that's kind of cool. Maybe things are taking a turn at that company. Maybe they're going to improve. Maybe they're going to get away from identity politics. They hold DEI initiative, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Maybe they're going to focus more on making great games and not so much on all this political, social BS that everybody seems to be obsessed with in the gaming industry these days. Well, apparently that's not the case anymore. That was just maybe, I don't know, a little smokescreen. Who knows? I was a little skeptical in the video. I was like, maybe not. You know, it's always hard to tell with these guys. But anyway, the story says, Sweet Baby Inc. continues to work with Remedy Games after destroying Alan Wake 2 with DEI sensitivity. I still don't think this game has recovered its budget. It's been well over a year. I think DLC's come out for it as well. Remedy Games is pressing forward in its controversial partnership with Sweet Baby Inc., even as the fallout from Alan Wake 2 continues to mount. Now, Smash JT saying here it doesn't stop at Alan Wake 2. Remedy Games is still infected with Sweet Baby Inc. According to SBI employee Maxine Sophia Wolf's public website, they're currently working on an unannounced Remedy game. Awesome. Yeah, we see a list here of some stuff like Alan Wake 2, Suicide Squad, The Crush House, Shadow Gambit, The Cursed Crew, Space Warlord, Organ Trading Simulator. What? Anyway, despite widespread criticism of the game's narrative, which many fans blame on SBI's disruptive influence, public information from an SBI employee reveals that the firm is currently working on an unannounced Remedy game. This revelation has left fans questioning whether Remedy Games is willfully ignoring its audience and past failures in favor of pushing divisive narratives. Now, for years, Remedy Games was celebrated for its storytelling prowess, with titles like Max Payne and Alan Wake earning a loyal fan base. However, the studio's partnership with Sweet Baby Inc. has introduced a troubling trend. And unfortunately, you know, we've gotten so used to looking at studios as being either good or bad, right? It's like, oh, wow, this studio makes great stuff. Naughty Dog, for instance, you know, oh, man, they make Uncharted. They made the first Last of Us. And then we forget some of the other stuff that they make. And we hear an announcement from them like, oh, this is that great studio that did this and that did that. Well, you forget that that was 10 years ago or 15 years ago or whatever. And due to the long cycle between games sometimes and just the nature of this industry overall, a lot of times these studios, even though they're putting out another game, a lot of developers that worked on that game that you loved are gone. You know, they've moved on. They're at different companies now. They've retired. Whatever. But they're no longer there. So now there's other people working there, and a lot of times they're younger. They're less experienced, and they're less qualified because a lot of these companies are now implementing DEI programs in the hiring process. And what does that mean? Well, that means they're hiring people based off of the color of their skin, what's in their pants, or what they like to do in the bedroom, rather than their actual skills and their merits and their qualifications for a job. So that means they're not getting the best people for the positions that they're hiring. And that's why things are deteriorating. That's why movies are so bad now. Television shows, games. You know, if you're not going for the best of the best, this is what you get. All right, so SBI, Sweet Baby Inc., a narrative design firm that openly prioritizes diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, initiatives, has become a flashpoint in the gaming world. Critics, like myself, argue that its approach consistently prioritizes ideological messaging over quality storytelling, leaving franchises like Alan Wake in disarray. And after featuring DEI elements like a race-swapped character, Alan Wake 2 was a major financial flop that put a lot of stress on the studio. But instead of distancing itself from SBI and its controversial CEO, Kim Belair, after the failure of Alan Wake 2, Remedy appears to be doubling down on the collaboration. Fans are left scratching their heads, wondering why the studio would continue a partnership that seems at odds with the creative principles that once made its games iconic. Yeah, you got to wonder about these things. Sometimes it feels like they're trying to force their companies into bankruptcy or something. I don't know. I mean, obviously that's not the case, although I wonder about Ubisoft sometimes. Are they really trying to drive down their stock so that, you know, somebody can buy it at a really severely discounted rate? That's something people have been talking about. But yeah, like, you know, continuing to push these things. I get it. Trying it out, you know, thinking, oh, this is a trend, you know, because a lot of people are not forward thinkers. They chase trends, right? They're like, oh, well, everybody's doing this, let's do it. And, you know, if you're the last person to start chasing a trend, well, by the time your product comes out, it's years after that trend has come and gone, and you look like an idiot, right? Case in point, Concord just came out last year and failed after 10 days and was pulled from the market, and everybody got refunded on it. That was a game that was obviously started several years back, and, you know, it just felt like, and what a mess it was. You know, it was just this DEI infused garbage game that completely failed. And it felt like it was out of time. Like maybe if it was released back when it was conceptualized, it may have stood a chance in that market at that time. Maybe. I don't know if it would have saved it or not. It was still pretty gay. Overall, just a terrible looking game. Terrible character design and all that, but hey, who am I to say? Anyway, the failure of Alan Wake 2 stands as a cautionary tale of what happens when fan-favorite franchises are handed over to ideological-driven firms like SBI. Once praised for its dark, atmospheric storytelling, the series lost its way in the sequel, with many players pointing to a narrative riddled with hollow characters, clunky dialogue, and forced DEI themes. And that's something I've noticed a lot, too, is dialogue in games lately has really deteriorated in terms of quality. Every game feels like it's written by 13-year-old girls, and it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. Things like Midnight Suns, the stuff I've seen from Dragon Age to Veilguard, and I'm guessing Alan Wake 2, used to have great stories written by characters that felt real. They felt compelling. There was passion in what they were saying. They made sense. You know, conversations felt authentic. You know, characters felt different from each other. Everybody felt like they had their own personality and all that. And now it's just like, I don't know, it's this weird banter. Oh, God, Forspoken. Go watch some clips of Forspoken and come away and tell me how many times you cringed. Absolute garbage dialogue. The bottom of the barrel, right? And I blame the generation of writers that's working on it. These kids have, I don't know, man, maybe they just spent too much time on the internet talking and not enough time face to face with real people, and they can't translate that e-talk into real talk. Maybe. I don't know. It's just absolutely horrible. But here's something from Sweet Baby Inc.'s website there, where they've got a picture of the Alan Wake 2 game. As you can see, we got Alan Wake at the top with his best John Wick impression. And then we've got our racially swapped FBI strong black female character at the bottom, who you play as during the game. Not the whole game, mind you, but you do switch back and forth between her and Alan Wake at different points in time in the game. I remember seeing that in the trailer, and it instantly turned me off. I'm like, really? Why? This is Alan Wake 2. You know, you played as Alan Wake in his first game. You know, I get it. Sometimes you want to have a different perspective in a game from time to time for whatever reason. 99.9% of the time, it's annoying when you do that. You know, God of War, Ragnarok, you played as Atreus briefly, and you just wanted that time to finish. I mean, it was fun from time to time, and it did open up parts of the story that you wouldn't have seen otherwise. But still, you're like, all right, I just want to be Kratos again, bro. You know, just let me be Kratos again. And when you combine that with the fact that now you have a race swapped character and it's obvious pandering to the DEI audience, the modern audience, that just made it even worse. Absolutely horrible. Anyway, reports have linked SBI directly to the narrative missteps, leaving fans feeling betrayed. According to the SBI's official website, the company worked on authenticity and sensitivity for the failed game. Instead of delivering the tense, engaging mystery they expected, Alan Wake 2 became a platform for shallow messaging and race swaps that alienated its core audience. Imagine that. First time for everything. Now here's something else from their website, a consultation. No matter the stage of production, we can strengthen story pitches, world building and character development needs, and other narrative design demands. Yeah, I don't think strengthen is the right word there. SBI's involvement often undermines the very elements that made established game franchises successful in the first place. The company had a hand in contentious changes to established popular games in the past, like race-swapping Norse mythology figures in God of War Ragnarok, and inserting divisive pride-centric elements into Insomniac's Spider-Man 2. I've talked about Ragnarok before. Angerboda, the frost giant, being played by a black girl. Fantastic actress. Why they did that, we all know why, but it just doesn't make sense. This is a Norse, they didn't have black frost giants. And I know they're not real. They're not real, but come on, guys. You know what I'm saying here. That's like saying when you make fun of pronouns, people are like, well, you just used a pronoun. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Preferred pronouns, whatever kind of nonsense you want to call it. Anyway, Sweet Baby Inc. markets itself as a champion of inclusivity in gaming that has experienced tremendous success, but its track record tells a different story, and boy, is that true. From polarizing updates in The Sims 4 to its contributions to Alan Wake 2, the firm's involvement has frequently sparked outrage among players. Its largest and most egregious failure came in Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, a game that turned the entire Batman Arkham universe on its head and lost Warner Brother Games an estimated $200 million. Now, why does this happen? SBI's narrative focus often clashes with the established tone and expectations of beloved franchises, creating dissonance that fans can't ignore. The firm's continued presence in Remedy's creative process is seen by many as a slap in the face to longtime fans who have vocally expressed their dissatisfaction with Alan Wake 2. Remedy's decision to remain tethered to SBI isn't just a creative risk, it's a potential threat to the studio's reputation and its continued existence. Studios that work with Sweet Baby Inc. tend to suffer massive layoffs or close entirely. And that's not a lie. That's not even a stretch in the truth. It happens all the time. We've seen time and time again layoffs and studios closing because they've worked with these clowns. And every time I don't feel bad. I'm like, you know what? You guys deserve this. You're working with these people. You're throwing your money at them. You're wasting money on this consultation firm that all they're doing is making your game worse. And I've asked this question before and I'll ask it again. Can you tell me a time that DEI made something better, whether it be a movie, a television show, or a video game? Forced diversity. Tell me a time when something was improved because of forced diversity. Okay? Don't tell me something that had diversity that was good, or something that was good already and it just happened to have diversity. Tell me something that was good because it had diversity. That was the reason for it being good. You can't do it. Nobody's ever done it. All they've done is cuss at me and get mad because they know I'm right. It just doesn't improve anything. It only makes it worse. Anyway, after the disaster of Suicide Squad, developer Rocksteady experienced heavy layoffs that decimated its staff. Avalanche Studios Groups, another SBI client, announced over the summer that it was laying off nearly 10% of its staff and shutting down its locations in New York and Montreal. The same happened to SBI client developers Reflector Entertainment and Heart Machine. Both saw huge staff reductions after SBI-induced failures, yet still, somehow, they continue to find work. Doesn't stop at Alan Wake 2. Remedy Games is still infected, blah, blah, blah. Master of the TDS here says, I've told people over and over they've lost no contracts and are still continuing to work. I got that information from an SBI insider. There are about 30 games they have a hand in yet to come out. Now, we've heard things about, people taking people disassociating with them, or I should not say people, but companies disassociating with them, developers disassociating with them, names coming off of the Sweet Baby website. The website itself went down briefly, like a week or two ago. There was another company that seemed to be partnering up with them. I forget what their name was, but looked into that, and that clown looked like they were built for each other, but is there any stopping this kind of thing? Eventually there will be, if you just keep voting with your wallet and keep not buying these games, enough studios will close, enough people will lose their jobs, and enough heads will roll that, Sweet Baby is going to be seen as the cancer it is in the industry. Already you can go to Steam and you can, there's a group that talks about it. It's called Sweet Baby Inc. Detected. And you can join this group and it will tell you what games have Sweet Baby Inc. involvement in them so that you can be aware of these games and avoid them at all costs. Don't even buy them on discount, man. Just walk away from them. 100%. You got to stand for something sometimes. And sometimes you have to deny yourself things. And people will say that to me like, well, you're missing out on a lot of good stuff. And it's like, I understand that, and it hurts sometimes. Sometimes it bothers me to miss out on things. I've seen a lot of great things in my life be destroyed that I love, but I'm not going to be a part of it anymore, and that's what standing for something means. That's what having principles means, that you're going to deny yourself something because you believe in something, right? That's what people do. So, that's what you have to do sometimes. And I'm not going to support companies that support Sweet Baby Inc. Sweet Baby Inc. hates me for who I am. They hate me for being a straight white male, right? That's what they do. They push back against all three of those aspects of my being. Now, that's not what defines me, but those are three parts of me that I can't change. I was born straight. I was born white. I was born a male. I can't change any of those things. So you hate me because of three parts of me that I was born with and I can't change. So whatever, guys. I'm not supporting anything you guys are involved in. I'm not giving you a dime of my money if I can help it. According to the YouTuber, Master TDS, of course, he's talking about those 30 games. Its clients haven't been so lucky. While studios close and people lose their jobs, Kim Belair and her company ride off in the sunset, fully paid for the work that directly led to their misfortune. And there's the problem. I think it was, who was it? Steve Jobs talked about it a while back, about these companies that come in like mercenaries like that, consultancy groups that will come in and work on a project briefly, do their part, and then walk away, collect their money and walk away. They have no skin in the game, right? Because they are paid and finished and off the job before whatever it is they worked on sees the light of day. And that's what Kim Belair's doing here. She's going in and she's doing her job, whatever she's hired for. She's walking away with her money in her pocket. The game comes out, the fallout ensues, and she's moved on to the next victim like a parasite. She's like a tick that drops off on one dog and goes and climbs on another one and starts drinking their blood. And then what happens? The dog gets sick and sometimes it dies. So that's what happens. There's no repercussions to them because they're not there for the long haul. They're not there to reap the benefits if the game's successful, which it never really is with them, or they're not there to suffer the consequences if the game's a failure. It's not their head on the chopping block. Any game they're involved with, if a company's doing business with them, they should be like, well, let's wait and see what happens when the game's released. That's going to determine whether or not you get paid. And if the game's a failure and it comes out because of what you guys have done, well, you're not getting a damn dollar. That might stop things. I don't know. Anyway, the unannounced Remedy game currently in development with Sweet Baby Inc. is already under intense scrutiny. It'll fail. With fans questioning whether Remedy will once again prioritize ideology over storytelling, they will. The stakes are enormous. Remedy's history of crafting memorable games has earned the company goodwill among gamers, but nothing erodes goodwill in the modern gaming world like associating with Kim Belair and SBI. The gaming industry has seen its share of creative missteps, but few developers choose to double down on decisions that alienate their fan bases. Actually, a lot of them do. Remedy's continued reliance on Sweet Baby Inc. raises serious questions about whether the studio's listening to its players or pursuing an agenda at the expense of its legacy. So tell me what you guys think, man. Are you going to support them if they're still working with them? Let me know. and down below in the comments. You know me. They won't see another dollar of my money. Yeah, it'll take a miracle before I ever buy anything from Remedy again, to be honest with you. It would take a miracle. You're going to need a changing of the guard there. You're going to need to get rid of the people in charge, the developer activists that are there, and they're going to have to come out and denounce what they've done and, say, hey, we're sorry about that. We really made some bad decisions here. Moving forward, this is our game plan, and we're not going to go down that route again. There is a chance for redemption. There is a chance for forgiveness. And there are opportunities for second chances out there. Through my life, as I get older, I become less and less forgiving. I've dealt with a lot of BS in my life, and and like I said, as I get older, I get less forgiving. So it'll take a lot. Anyway, leave your thoughts down below in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and ring that bell for notifications. I will see you guys next time. Until then, peace.